Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Slime Aid podcast. It's been a while, but we're ready to get back to making some regular episodes, hopefully. Are you ready for this, Gertie?
Yeah, I've been ready the whole time.
I've been always ready.
Wait, what the hell? Who are you guys? Where's Gertie?
We're Gertie.
Yeah, Gertie.
Oh. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so this is probably going to get really confusing because previously I just had one Gertie, and now it seems like you've split into two men. So just to avoid further confusion, I think we're going to just give you individual names, perhaps. Is that good?
Yeah, so you can call me Yawning Giant or Brandon, whichever you prefer.
Okay, and...
You can call me Daniel.
All right, and as always, I am Candy Jack Cat, and we are going to be talking about... Creepypastas.
Spooky spaghetti.
So I guess a good starting point with creepypasta is maybe kind of getting into how did we get introduced to creepypasta. I guess I can start. It was roughly around 2013, I believe. I think the first time I was introduced to one, my niece was showing me The Expressionless. And I didn't know what a creepypasta was, and I was under the impression, looking at the photograph of like that creepy mannequin thing, if you've seen it, it's very creepy, way creepier than the actual story. And I didn't know what a creepypasta was, so I'm just under the impression that this is real. This is something that, an actual case that happened. And it really freaked me out. I was definitely a lot more gullible at the time. I was a lot younger, a lot more stupider. But I didn't get regularly into creepypasta until maybe November-ish of 2013. A friend introduced me to like Mr. Creepypasta and all that stuff. And by that point, I was kind of like, okay, these are fictional stories, but they're still really creepy. And I hadn't really been creeped out in a long time. It's just like a lot of horror movies just don't do it for me. But these were like spooking the shit out of me. So how about you guys?
Yeah, so I believe I first really started reading creepypastas around mid-2010s. I would scroll the X-board on 4chan. I don't think I really knew the term creepypasta until closer to 2012, though.
Okay.
That's when I tried my hand at trying to create my own story, and let's just say it didn't go very well.
Right, I think we've all have some experience trying to write our own amateur literature, and definitely it's easy to like dunk on shitty stories. It's a lot harder to write something of quality, especially if you have minimal experience.
Yeah, and I was introduced to creepypasta through Brandon. I'm pretty sure you probably showed me... I want to say the first thing you showed me was the Russian sleep experiment. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, that sounds like it could be right.
Yeah, like that's one of the first ones that I remember listening to, mainly because that's the most exposure to creepypasta I have is listening to like narrators, Creeps Make Pasta, Mr. Creepypasta.
Right. I mean, personally, none of us know how to read, so we just listen to narrations.
I've never read a word in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that fact. God bless America.
Yeah. Duh.
It's weird because I do have a channel where I read, but I'm just kind of just flowing off the top of my
You're basically just guessing what the words say, and you've just gotten like an amazing streak of luck.
And with the stutter, it's very good luck, isn't it?
Well, you see, I can cut those out.
We can cut them out too, but we're not gonna.
Yeah, we're 100% leaving in all of Brandon, aka Yawning Giant, stutters.
I will say, and we should also probably leave in the muted snickers that I admit every time he starts to stutter.
What a friendly energy we have here.
Every day is a living hell.
I mean, we've been friends since what, 6th grade, 5th grade?
Yeah, I'd say.
I think we reserve the right to make fun of each other's unchangeable disabilities.
But I'd say that we've really been friends for life because we're both one soul that got split.
Right, right. Because
Yes.
as previously mentioned, you're both Gertie.
That pretext.
It's weird that like when you split up, you had like all of a sudden you have separate memories of different lives. It's weird how that happens.
Well, mitosis and powerhouses of cells. Stuff like that.
Right, right. And then to make it even weirder, the original Gertie, it's kind of like you split off of her, so she's still a separate entity, and she's going to be making a new logo for this podcast eventually. So that's going to be pretty cool.
I didn't know that we were that creative.
Yeah, well, you're not. When you split off, you had like the shit aspects. So
I do feel like that is kind of on brand for me. I'm the bad clone of a person who has actual talent.
So inside every talented woman is two men.
And both of them are incompetent.
was actually what we're describing like in itself could be an interesting creepypasta where somebody like drinks some sort of like formula that causes all of their worst attributes to like shed off as a separate living creature. We should get on that. We should like hold on to that and do something.
Copyright.
Maybe this will be the Tubi
Donut
movie.
Steal.
Donut Steal.
You can find it on Tubi next month.
We're going to shoot it later tonight.
It's going to be shot on an iPhone 6.
With a cracked camera.
Or else it could get stolen, like the Loveland Frog idea.
Oh my god, can we talk about that? So, obviously, we've made shitty movies together, which you can watch on my alternate channel, Freddy Leprechaun.
How many did we end up making over the years that, like, because I know you've done at least one without most of us.
That's like a...
Or you've done a couple without
That's
most
a
of
hard
us.
question to answer.
I think we like, whenever it was all of us, we did, like, 3 or 4.
I think all of us, it might have only been 3 if you count movies that are no longer...
Okay, like, if you want to count, like, not comedy skets or, like, really short things, just, like, lengthier movie projects, we did a Creepypasta anthology film that was...
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about that later, because I think that's relevant.
Maybe I'm thinking of those as multiple things.
Yeah, because it was 6 different stories in that one.
I know for sure that we also did Bad Eggs.
Bad Eggs 2.
Bad Eggs 2, yes.
Yeah, nobody knows what we're talking about. These are just my stupid movies I made when I was younger.
Didn't we do one?
We... At least Tiernan and I did a Boo Blasters
Yeah, we
movie.
did. Dan was in that one.
I was
Okay.
racist against Italians, which is the best kind of racism. It's the only good kind. Please cut that out.
No. Listen, if you think I'm just going to cut things out to make you look good, you're giving me work to do. I ain't about it.
It's going to be added straight to the front of the podcast, and it's going to have a picture of your face.
I have practice learning how to bite my tongue in certain situations. Clearly, I was going to say you guys, but mostly just Dan does not exercise that skill.
And I stand by everything I say.
You really can't be racist against Italians. Not anymore.
Okay, we should totally change the subject. Yeah. Basically, we just made a bunch of movies together, but one we did was like a found footage docudrama kind of thing called The Loveland Frog, based on the cryptid, The Loveland Frog, which is like a frog creature thing, whatever the fuck it is. Mostly it was just like kind of, I just made like, I didn't really do a script, I just did like bullet points, and we just improvised the whole thing. And you guys, I don't know if you were in a ton of it, but you were definitely in parts of it.
Daniel was the frog's voice.
Right, you actually did the frog's voice.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah. Can you give us a taste of that right now?
No, I can't remember what voice I did.
It was the pterodactyl screech.
Did
I just go...
You did some of the pterodactyl screech, but you also did like this low kind of go to... I don't even know how you did it.
I'm trying to think.
You're ruining the podcast, Daniel. Keep the flow.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Yeah, yeah.
It's that's a I believe, I'm not sure, but it's my attempt at a technique of a certain kind of metal growling vocal music type shit.
That makes sense.
Cannibal Corpse, that's the band.
Okay, right. I'm familiar with them.
Yeah.
But either way, it worked really good for a frog monster sound effect, so you did that. But the reason we want to bring this up is because there's these other filmmakers that fucking ripped off our idea. I think it's just called The Loveland Frog. It's the exact same movie we made. Oh, except they probably had like a budget and they did a better job and theirs was probably less shit. I didn't watch it yet. But the same thing. It's like a docudrama where they are looking for the Loveland Frog. And then, of course, they end up coming across it and it's super spooky or something. I saw the trailer. That's what I picked up from the trailer.
I swear to God, they better not have a biologist who gets killed. And then it's shown on the news, or I'm going to be so mad.
Just show the biologist's dead body on the news.
God, what an awful film.
Yeah.
I believe I made a comment on that movie about how the actors suck, and somebody was very upset with me. Hey!
Yeah.
Why is my picture what shows up when you search?
So Daniel just pulled up the IMDb page for our Loveland Frog movie. And yes, there's an IMDb page for it. It's just, I don't know how I have an IMDb page. Who made an IMDb page for me? But there's 2 films on it. The Loveland Frog and then a Creepypasta fan film called Eyeless Jack. Obviously based on the Eyeless Jack Creepypasta. I've done a bunch of shit, but just those 2 things are on there, which makes it weirder.
And the frog has the wrong date.
Right.
Yeah.
It has the wrong year.
Right. So
2020.
I think that's because I took the movie off of YouTube at one point, and then I re-uploaded it in It was originally released 2015. I re-uploaded it in 2020. So I guess the IMDb is just putting that on there or whatever.
I also... It has me... So it only has me in Loveland Frog, so I'm not in the other thing that is on IMDb.
Eyeless Jack. Yeah, you weren't in that one.
Okay, there we go.
What are you credited as?
I'm credited as news anchor voice.
Oh, right. You did a voiceover.
Yeah.
When we were showing Brandon's dead body.
I'm also... It's literally... If you click on it, because it kind of has a profile for me. And all it is just Loveland Frog 2020. And it says, Dan Smith is known for Loveland Frog.
Well, would you rather be known for your racist Italian impersonation?
Kind of.
Well, that is a spicier meatball.
I stand behind that. I'm just going to triple down.
Okay. Well, anyway, the point being is that these fuckers stole our idea. And I want some money, gosh darn it.
I love how you censored that. You said fuckers.
I'm very religious. I didn't want to use the Lord's name in vain, you know.
Yeah, you can say fuck, but God forbid you say God.
Hey, you just said it. You get the heck out of this podcast till you learn to wash your mouth out.
I'm good.
Okay. How do we bring this? Do we want to talk about I want to bring this back to Creepypasta. That's supposed to be. I've been very nostalgic for Creepypastas recently. I don't know what sparked this, but I've just been watching a lot of YouTube videos related to Creepypasta because, I don't know, I've just been in the mood. I've been very nostalgic for back in 2013 to 2016 era. I feel like I was the most into Creepypasta during that time. That's when we were making our shitty Creepypasta anthology movie,
Yeah.
which, again, we'll get to that in a minute. But do we want to just highlight some Creepypastas that are maybe some of our favorites, maybe ones that scared the most shit out of our butts?
After you.
Okay, I guess I'll start. So, I think one of the first ones I came across, so this was kind of late November when my friend was showing me these things, when I was first learning what an actual creepypasta was. I think the first one that really creeped me out was called The Couch. You remember this one? We did a short film based on this one as well. We kind of changed it around a bit, but it's basically like this kid is playing with a ball, and the ball rolls under the couch, and he goes to grab it, and then this decrepit corpse-like hand reaches out from under it. And I think the reason it creeped me out so much is because that sort of reminds me of like, if you're like a little kid, sometimes your imagination runs a little crazy. And little kids have been known to hallucinate things that aren't quite there. It's just like a weird thing that happens. And I think as a kid, I've had some of these hallucinations. So it just seems like something that would have happened to me as a kid, where I envision a creepy hand coming out from under the couch. And then as an adult, I'm trying to process what the hell happened there. Like to create a more personal example, I remember when I was a little kid, I was at the library. My mom was in the doing whatever she's fucking doing, and I'm in the kids section, and I look under. I was sitting at one of those like plastic tables, and I look under the table for whatever reason. I think I was going to grab something, or I don't know. I was a little kid. Who knows what the fuck I'm doing? But I saw somebody under the table. It was probably just like some guy who was like grabbing something. Like he probably just bent over at the same time as I was, and I just made eye contact with him.
He's like, "Hey there, little boy, let me plug."
But this guy had kind of like a beard and long hair, so I think in my little kid brain I was like, it's a caveman. And I screamed and I ran away. Like I look under the table, and he's just like, probably what happened is he looked at me and he said, "Hi." And then I just thought it was a caveman, and I screamed and ran away to my mom. So years later, as an adult, I'm trying to process, like, that was probably just some guy probably dropped something and grabbing it.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought I was his kid, and because kids run all over the place. Any number of things could have happened that led to this. Or maybe I completely hallucinated it. I also remember when I was little, I had like a plastic hammer toy, like a Fisher-Price one.
Yeah.
I recall it sprouting eyes and wings and flying away, and then I was chasing it. That obviously had to have been either a dream or a hallucination, but I don't know. It's just like, it's a mess. So it's kind of like what the couch story reminds me of, just to swing back into that. Do we have any ones that like really creeped us out?
So I don't remember when I found the story, but I do remember being creeped out by the Midnight Game.
The Midnight Game.
Yes. It's a ritual where you summon a spirit into your home by doing a very particular set of steps. I believe you have to knock on your door 13 times at exactly 12 a.m.
I remember this.
You need to like sign your name in blood on a piece of paper, and then the spirit comes into your home. From there, you have to walk through your home with a candle, and if it goes out, you have to light it within, I think it's 10 seconds, or else you will start to see the worst nightmares of your life.
Didn't we kind of like try to do the Midnight Game one night at your mom's house out in the middle of nowhere?
We were planning on doing it, but honestly, I don't remember why we didn't end up doing it, because we did. One of the rules of the game is that your front door also needs to be wooden, so that way it'll work, because apparently it was an ancient Babylonian ritual that was used as a punishment.
Okay.
I don't remember if there was a upside to winning the game, but I was just like, oh,
You get to live.
But what if this is real and I can actually see a spirit?
Ooh.
That was the only upside to doing it. And I was just like, maybe we try it out.
Have you heard of How to Play Hide and Seek by Yourself? That's a similar kind of creepypasta story.
Honestly, I might have, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of ritual pastas.
Yeah, it's another ritual one, but this one involves the gist. And this one really creeped me out because of this. The idea is you're supposed to do some sort of ritual, and then go hide, and you get like a doll to do the ritual with. And the idea is the doll will get up and come find you. And that concept, the idea of inanimate objects coming to life, and just moving around. That really creeps me out.
If I remember correctly, you're supposed to give it something to poke you with, too. And if it manages to poke you, that's how you lose the game.
That's
And it
usually how
steals
I
your
win
body.
most games. Am I right, fellas? Yeah, boy.
I'm not high-fiving for that.
Anyway.
I think I'm gonna say the Midnight Game that has been something that scared me, but ones that I can think of, it's the Russian Sleep Experiment.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the first thing that I really listened to or read. Really, I listened to it.
Yeah.
And that was creepy. It was really nice and suspenseful in places. I'm trying to remember one that I had read or I had listened to forever ago. It creeped me the fuck out. And all I can remember now, I really want to find this video, but all I can remember now is it's basically this young woman who lives in a dilapidated apartment building, and she's kind of like waiting out a clock, waiting for time to tick by before she can run away forever and like leave the place.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire time, it's just like they're just building up suspense with like little weird things happening, and you know something's wrong. I cannot remember who did the narration. This was forever ago. This was like 2019, 18, which doesn't sound like forever ago, but it feels like forever ago.
When I think of like 2019, I'm thinking like that's already when I'm kind of like fading out of creepypasta.
Yeah, well, I at the time I was working. I'm still working at the same place, but my job was different, and I was sat in a warehouse by myself all day, just processing packages and going through stuff and doing stuff for my job. And most of there was like a good, I would say 4 to 5 hours where I would be at a computer the entire time, and I would listen to random stuff on YouTube, and creepypastas just happened to be like, okay, I'll get back into this. And I ended up listening to a lot then. My boss would come in there and scare the shit out of me every day almost. And like, he would try his hardest to not scare me, and I would still get scared.
Oh, so he's being nice about it.
Yeah.
I would just be like, oh, what a prime opportunity to be an asshole.
Oh, I was his favorite employee because I could get the job done and he didn't have to tell me what to do. He loved me. He never had to talk to me unless he needed something from me or just wanted to come and say hi.
Well, that is wholesome.
He's a good guy. I like him. His name's Pat.
So give out his full name.
Yeah. His full name is Patricia.
Okay, you know what? So we talked about some ones that really creeped us out. Let's talk about, obviously, the scariest creepypasta ever, and that's obviously Jeff the Killer.
Oh, God, yeah. It is so well written. I
can't even take it seriously for a bit.
I'm not
It
gonna
is
lie.
subtle and just the cleverest story you can tell.
I don't know if I've ever listened to Jeff the Killer, or I'm not gonna ever read it because it's trash. But,
Well, that's because you're a fake fan.
I don't think I don't. I'm trying to remember because I've been listening to the Creepcast a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna plug another podcast that isn't mine. I've been listening to the Creepcast, and I don't think they've covered it.
They covered Jeff
Did
the Killer.
they?
Yeah, that was one of their first episodes, I think. Because they kind of talked about they wanted to like mix it up and like not just do like the really good stuff, but like just some of the goofier, shitty
I don't
stuff.
think I watched that episode. I have to look. I'll have to look and see. Maybe I did.
I think
it was like the first one I watched, and I just can't remember it at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna say if you want to just check it out, the Jeff story, just so you can say you've done it, that's the best way to do it. Because
I love that podcast
because
it's and they seem the longer they go, the better they're getting at doing the story and it being pretty cool, and then they break the tension and make it funny.
Yeah.
I love that.
So can we talk about how hot Jeff the Killer is, though? They describe him. There's nothing sexier then a man that cuts his face into a smile, has bleach poured all over him and lit on fire.
I was gonna why? Quick question. Is bleach flammable?
I
I don't think it is. Did he get some sort of flammable thing?
So there was a birthday party.
Oh, okay. That explains it. Everyone's flammable at birthday parties.
I just want to say real quick, I know he's a problematic figure right now, but Creepypasta years ago did a video kind of testing if, I think it was alcohol in bleach were the things in the story that caused Jeff to light on fire. And he did a video testing to see if these things are flammable.
What
and
alcohol is at certain concentrations.
Yeah, I forget what kind of alcohol.
I think
Might have been like vodka or
isopropyl.
something.
If it, depending on the
Well, in the story, it definitely
Dosage.
wasn't isopropyl.
yeah, isopropyl's 90%, which is definitely flammable. Most vodkas won't be flammable.
Yeah. I was going to say, Creeps McPasta did a video testing if the things in the story were as flammable as they were described. Like, he was dipping, like, hot dogs into these things and lighting them. And they were not catching on fire at all.
Yeah.
So that tells me that...
Whoever wrote that story is a fake fan.
I mean, to be fair, we can't necessarily trust Creeps McPasta.
So that's why I said problematic figure at the moment. I don't know how...
What did he do?
We're going to move on to a more cheery subject.
Child mortality.
Okay, Laughing Jack it is.
Oh, so we're going to talk about another problematic figure.
Damn it, we can't talk about that one either. Why is there so many problematic figures in Creepypasta? Oh my god.
Oh, it's like, it's a widely sourced thing and attracts children to it on the internet.
Well, know what? We can talk about Slender Man. A figure that has no bad history involving him.
No, definitely not.
That's not funny.
We will be ignoring the state of Wisconsin.
I don't know. Is there any like classic characters we want to talk about, regardless of if they have problematic history? That
Are we talking about like narrators or characters from
characters like Jeff the Killer.
The Rake.
Okay.
That's a great. I don't know why my brain didn't think about this earlier, but the Rake is a great fucking creepypasta that I have. When was the last time I want to rewatch that? Re-listen to it. Because it, from what I can remember, it is legitimately like nerve-wracking in parts. Like the way that the creature is described to like quickly kind of like get into their face and like I think he does that to the husband of the wife for the one that I've read or the part that I've read. No, that's a great ass. That's a great. What does he look like? Is he
the Rake?
Yeah.
He's got like long fingers, kind of like a bony, scrawny body.
okay?
Usually walks kind of crouched down. Very like just simple but effective creature design.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, if you want to scare someone, make your creature spindly and paper white, and it'll be creepy as fuck.
Mhm.
I mean, Slender Man, the Rake, hell, like creepy character design. I think it's in like VHS 89 Ratma.
Oh.
Ratma
I do enjoy
is
Ratma.
pale white
is that the like?
humanoid rat creature
Okay,
thing.
I've seen like clips. I haven't seen that movie,
I
but
haven't seen that.
I've seen the creature, and it's a very
I've
good
seen
looking.
I've seen clips. I've never seen the full VHS for that. I haven't seen that full movie.
Yeah, I think I've seen like the first two VHS movies, and then it's like I wasn't impressed with those. I'll admit.
I liked the very first one. I don't think I've seen. I think we've watched most of the second or all of the second one. I know I've watched it with you. The one that
I've
has
watched
the
all of
alien
them.
abduction.
Yeah. So they've started going more into a each one is now like a certain theme, and that's what they're that's what each one is now.
Wasn't the last one viral?
No, the last one that came out was... Oh, what was the space one? I forget what it was called.
VHS in space.
VHS Viral, I believe, was the third one. Or the fourth.
I think it might have been the third.
The newest one is VHS Beyond.
Beyond?
Yep, and that one's all aliens. There's some cyborgs in it as well. It's more like sci-fi based.
Yeah. I think most people, like, whenever they talk about the VHS series, it's, like, very much... You pick different ones.
And
like,
then each one has sections that you
each
like.
movie. Like, there's one movie that has a bunch of stinkers. I think it's the one that has the magician.
Is that Viral?
That one might be Viral.
I heard Viral was not well received.
I think the best one was the one with the magician and Viral. As far as I've heard from like other people who have actually watched the full movie.
Yeah. I think the found footage format has limits with me, and I feel like that series kind of pushes, like, it's either you need to go full-blown goofy or be very serious and subtle with how you do things, and it's like they're kind of in between. And when I say goofy, I mean like comedy, farcical, absurdist.
Yeah.
Like obviously not taking this seriously, where they're still like trying to be a serious horror film. But it's like, okay, you're doing the found footage format, but then I see like CGI and very clear monsters that are like, even if it's very well done effects, it's like it takes me out of the found footage quality.
Then Beyond is definitely not one that you'll want to watch because it has a lot of very cheesy CGI in it.
Okay, yeah, and that's like, CGI definitely should not be heavily used in found footage. I think that's the best way to take you out of it.
If I remember correctly, there's a couple of parts in the movie that does have good practical effects, but it wouldn't be worth it to rent the whole movie at the moment for the current price.
Yeah, I've noticed even if they're like not great, I enjoy found footage movies better from watching them with somebody. Like last time I tried to watch found footage, it was by myself, and I was just like, this is boring. There's so much dead air in those movies.
And yeah, found footage movies, unless it's like certain genres, like I would say a found footage monster movie, you could probably get away with watching it by yourself. But anything like, I know like Paranormal Activity, that movie is not fun ever unless you're with people. I would not have liked it, the first one, if I didn't watch it with others. Also probably wouldn't have liked it more if I also didn't like see a ghost in the middle of watching that movie.
I know I watched the third Paranormal Activity, and I saw that with a group of people at a drive-in. Mm-hmm. One of the worst experiences of my life. Like, it was actually so boring that it was like uncomfortable to sit in the car and watch it. Like,
which one is the third?
It's the one that's shit.
The first?
No, the first one's not too bad, in my opinion.
It's okay.
Well, I watched it, so I watched the first one. It was a bootleg theater recorded copy. Because this was like right as Paranormal Activity was blowing up that first Halloween that it came out. But I watched it at my grandfather's house, which was at the time my cousin was living there because my grandfather was dead. Yeah, it was a fun little experience. And while sitting there watching the movie, I looked over towards the kitchen in the home, and there was a lady sticking her head around the doorway staring at me. And then I looked her in the eye, and she went away. That was a fun experience. I saw a ghost that night.
And by ghost, he means crack addict.
I hope so, because definitely there was nobody there.
Are you saying you'd feel safer if it was a crack addict?
Yeah, something real, something that isn't real being there would be more scary. I can deal with a crackhead that's gotten into my house.
Maybe you haven't had experience with drug addicts enough.
Oh, I have quite a few druggies in my family.
I mean, if I saw a ghost, I would be spooked.
Yeah.
But if I saw a crack addict, I'd feel like I'm in danger.
I have a very bad self-preservation. You can ask Kevin. I fucking run at all scary things around this house.
I'd just be confused on why my dad showed up at my house.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw you waiting to say that.
No, I was going through my head. I was like, do I say it? Do I not?
That's funny.
I just feel like for clarification, did your dad go to get a pack of cigarettes one day?
I think he just left. He was like, fuck this.
Okay. Doesn't matter what he was picking up. He just got the hell out of there.
That's my creepypasta story.
My creepypasta story is my dad left.
Parental abandonment.
I do know there was a branch off of creepypastas called Feels Pastas.
Oh, yeah.
I've never heard of that. What is that?
They're just like sad stories.
Oh no.
I didn't dive into them. I came across like one on YouTube that was narrated. It was just called, I think it's called like Ugly the Cat or something. And I'm like, nope, not even touching that.
I like a good cry every once in a while, but I don't think that I would like recreationally
It seems like it's
read
probably not
scary stuff or
great.
cry like sad stuff. Every once in a while, like if I like I'm feeling funny and I'm just like bored or like high, I'll watch like a try not to cry compilations where it's like parents getting home from being at war.
I feel like I very rarely cry, and I feel like it's because I go out of my way to avoid doing it, which is probably not great that I'm doing that.
Yeah,
But I also feel like it's partially because I'm extremely empathetic. Like, I see other
Yeah.
people, like, they'll hear bad news about someone else, and they'll just be like, LOL, that sucks. I can't handle it. Like, it's, like, hard for me to hear about, like, a loved one that's struggling with something, or I witnessed a lizard get run over recently, earlier this year. It ran into the road because it was running away from me. It's my fault. And it got ran over, and then I saw its dead body spasming, and I needed to just get away from that. I saw the car coming. I closed my eyes, and then I heard the pop, and I was not okay.
There was a dog that got hit in front of my house not too long ago. That was a bad day. I was sitting on the couch, and all I heard was boom, and I was just like, okay. And I stuck my head out the door, and I saw it, and I was like, fuck. And then the whole bunch of stuff happened. Yeah, it was a bad day. I'm happy it wasn't my dog's, but it was somebody's dog, and I felt so bad.
Well, Tiernan, would you be happy to know that this whole thing has been a sting, and we got you, fucker, for
You
killing
lizard
that lizard.
murderer.
Damn it. So I think we can kind of get back into the creepypasta topic. We're getting a little sidetracked here. So 2014, I believe it was. Like I said, I got into creepypasta 2013, really late in the year. So somewhere in 2014, I got together with you guys and I said, we should make a creepypasta horror anthology film. Just like pick 6 different stories, adapt them, make it like a feature-length film. At the time, we were hoping maybe we could screen it somewhere, possibly make money off of this, but I think because these were other people's stories, I at least got cold feet about that, and we just put it on YouTube. But either way, we did make a movie, and do we want to
definitely wasn't the quality of the movie that held us back.
I mean, we still would have tried to make money
Listen,
off of it.
Yeah,
compared to things that are on Tubi right now, that is
true.
like Criterion Collection level of good. Tubi has The Legend of Bloodfart Lake. Think about
That sounds like a great movie. I bet it got nominated for something, an Oscar maybe?
You know, yeah,
Razzie?
probably.
Maybe we really can make a movie about Cockthorn.
Oh no.
First off, nobody knows what you're talking about.
Exactly. That was in the... No, that was before we even started recording.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear about their stupid... You know, I did mention earlier I would like to make a like a parody found footage movie. If we're interested, like just something really cheap and easy that we can get on YouTube. we're not going to explain what cockthorn is, but maybe that can be a subject.
Honestly, I believe that it works more if people don't know what it is, so they can kind of fill in the blanks.
Cockthorn sounds like a action hero's name.
It either sounds like that or it sounds like a very cheesy romance book. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Creepypasta movie.
Right. So we started kind of like having like little meetings. I remember we'd get late at night, the latest hours known to mankind. We'd be at McDonald's.
Oh God.
Chugging coffee. Well, I was a caffeaholic, so I'd be chugging a bunch of coffee and then get an ice cream. And we would just like go back and forth through the counter while we discussed ideas. We were like brainstorming, like, hey, what stories do we want to adapt, and this, that, and the other.
I believe during one of those is actually when we filmed the couch film as well.
Right. So that was late 2014. So based on the couch story, and that is currently on my other YouTube channel, Freddy Leprechaun. Totally check that out, maybe, if you feel like it. I don't know. It's up to you. You know, you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
If you want to.
If you want the highest quality Creepypasta short films,
Go
check
somewhere
out Freddy
else.
Leprechaun.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, go to Freddy Leprechaun. But yeah.
Featured in a couple other YouTube videos.
So, technically, I guess I'm in the most bottom of the crap barrel sense, semi-famous for making creepypasta adaptations. To this day, people still comment, do a Nina the Killer movie. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But thank you for commenting. But either way, The Couch was the first of these adaptations. And it was shot on a really shitty, like, little handy cam, too, before we got upgraded to a better camera. And I feel like that adds to the quality, in my personal opinion, because I love horror that just is like grainy and shitty. I know at the time we were trying to strive for more HD, look more professional, but on a personal preference level, I love it when just horror films look like shit. Like,
I mean, it can definitely lend to the effect of certain things, like, I mean, analog horror type stuff,
right,
where you would see something and it's supposed to look like a videotape or an old file or something, like a corrupt file.
Yeah.
I remember. I'm trying to remember actually the whole. What is The Couch about?
Well, I totally explained this earlier in the podcast.
I can't fucking. I still like. I'm. My brain is just a sieve.
So in the original story, a kid's playing with a ball, rolls under the couch.
Oh, yes, okay.
So in our version, because we didn't have access to a kid, so we kind of readapted it a little. In our version, it's just our friend Derek. He's throwing a ball around, just kind of like doing whatever. And then the same thing happens. Rolls under the couch. He goes to grab it. Then a creepy hand comes out. And I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit. I'm really proud of how that hand came out. I did a lot of detail. It was like a latex glove, essentially, but it looked really like rotted flesh. And I made little fingernails out of like a plastic bottle. Yeah, The Couch was the first of our creepypasta adaptations. And that was like the first movie where it's like, we're a team. We're working on this together. Like it's not just me telling other people what to do. We're all working with the camera. We're giving input, bouncing it off of each other like a crew.
Using the power of friendship to create movie magic.
I think I just tried to break a lot of things.
I do remember Dan would not shut the hell up during like every time we're recording. And I'm just like, I would like to leave some of the original audio in. I don't want to have to like re-record fucking everything.
Oh, we got so distracted so many times.
Oh, yeah. It's really fun. We had a lot of good times back then.
Tiernan and I would be talking, and then there'd just be a completely separate conversation with like Daniel or Derek or Kevin, just off in their own world.
Yeah, I feel like you and me, Brandon, would usually be the most on topic when it came to like, okay, brainstorming. We gotta come up with ideas.
We were the talent. You guys were the muscle of getting it done. We were the talent. And when it comes down to it, it's your fault that you couldn't wrangle us. It's definitely not us. It was not our fault.
Okay, it's all our fault that this whole film crew is a cesspool of ADHD and autism.
This is teenager shit.
And we can leave you to guess who has what.
I think
Trick question,
it's a
everybody
mid-level.
has everything. More than likely. Then I know we did another, because we were kind of planning the feature-length anthology film out, but to like maybe get like some attention while promoting our movie, we were doing the shorts, kind of like just like do a little short and then post that onto the YouTube channel. So the second one we did, if you remember, was A Bug in My Shoe,
Yes.
which that's a real simple story. This guy sees a bug crawl in the shoe. He looks in the shoe and there's an eyeball staring back at him. So, we were trying to do like really simple stories to do like as short films just to kind of get some eyes. If we were smart, we would have just said Jeff the Killer, do that. Like now I know that it's like the sexy fuckboys are the ones you got to do to get eyes on your YouTube channel.
I definitely think that we were too pretentious about the quality of the stories that we were going to include.
I'm trying to think of what was the one that we ended up shooting. I think it was at Derek's house. I think the mask was blue.
Oh, that was
That was
The Abstergo Man, yes.
the blue mask.
No, it wasn't blue, but Tristan did show up with an eyelash.
I made an eyeless
Yeah.
Jack. Originally in the anthology film, we were going to do an eyeless Jack segment, but we ended up cutting it for one reason or another. But in the teaser trailer for the movie, we shot a teaser trailer. That was a whole thing in itself. We had our friend Tristan dressed like eyeless Jack, and he's kind of like in that painting. Was it the Nightmare? What was that demon creature on the girl's chest? I kind of wanted to do like that, but eyeless Jack is on this guy's chest, staring back at him, and that was a teaser trailer for the movie. So that was a whole production shooting that. And then we ended up not using eyeless Jack in the movie except for one shot, just for more of like an Easter egg. He's in there. So we did that. That was still before a Bug in My Shoe, I think, because we didn't have the. A Bug in My Shoe was the first one where we had like a nicer camera, and you can see the quality jump from the couch to A Bug in My Shoe. It's like fantastic.
Did was Abstergo Man part of the anthology? Or
Yes.
Was it
Yes.
its own?
Yeah, that was part of the anthology.
And that was the one where, behind the scenes, we were making so many jokes about Abstergo Man.
What are these jokes we can talk about on the podcast?
It was... We'll decide if we want to cut this or not. I forget who was Abstergo Man.
I was
it you?
Abstergo Man.
Okay. It was, you would put a finger up to your face, say shh, and then pretend to jerk.
It's just like the whole production of that movie was like I wanted the movie itself to be, with our limitations, as good as it can be, but behind the scenes it was just shitpost central.
I'm surprised we got anything ever done. I mean, you can
Yeah, me too.
You can tell that we weren't the most professional by watching the stuff. But I mean, I do think that even though the quality is not as good as it could have been, I don't know. I think we did a good job for what we were doing.
And I think we did a good job. We at least tried to contact every person whose story that we used.
Right.
Yeah.
We wanted permission.
Some of them we could not find, but
It's Creepypasta.
yeah.
I know we did want to do like a Crypt Keeper kind of interludes between the stories, and we wanted to see if we could get Mr. Creepypasta to do narrations for that, and then we would like shoot live actions of one of us dressed like him, but that never came through.
Well, we tried for him and Creeps McPasta as well.
That's
Right.
the bad
And-
one, right?
That's a bad one, yeah.
Creeps McPasta
Alleged.
did turn it down. I don't think I was ever able to actually get into contact with Mr. Creepypasta, though.
I think if I remember, you did ask him initially in the beginning, would you be interested? And he said yes. But then when it came time to actually record, it's like we got him just at that right point before he got too big for us. It's like Creepypasta just exploded between the beginning of this production to like when we were actually ready to record.
Which, I mean, it's probably good that we didn't get Creeps McPasta.
No, you got Mr. Creepypasta. You got him to say yes.
Oh, maybe I did. I would have to look back at the emails to know for sure.
If I remember correctly, it was him that said yes in the beginning. And then I guess he got too big. And I don't know if we were able to contact Creeps McPasta or not. But again, like you said, good thing maybe retrospectively we didn't get him for reasons that I'd rather not discuss on this podcast. I'm trying to keep good vibes here, people. And it is a chore with you two.
Good vibes.
So, like, we did 6 stories. We started the production in October of 2014, I think. Yeah, October 2014, we actually started shooting. And then the last day of shooting, I think it was June 2016. And I remember throughout the production of the film, it's like we started off all of us together, very ambitious, ready to do this. By the last day of shooting, it was just me, our friend Derek, and Tristan. So basically, you guys had completely fell off the project by that point.
That was also like, didn't we? Wasn't all of this filmed over like months?
This was filmed over like years.
Yeah.
And by the time I had fallen off, I had ended up moving about an hour and a half away.
We're living
So
in
it was,
Seaman,
yeah.
which is the best name of a city, town, place in Ohio.
Yes, it's very hilarious. I feel like I made a lot of bad decisions that I wish I could retrospectively go back and fix. Like, I was talking about this with you earlier. I think instead of doing an anthology film, because anthology seems like the perfect idea, but realistically, just in terms of getting more eyes on the channel, and I think we should have just picked one story and did a feature film based on that one story. Like Laughing Jack was one of the stories we did. We should have just picked Laughing Jack and did a feature Laughing Jack movie and put all of our energy into that. Because by the time we got around by the time I got around to shooting the Laughing Jack part, it was towards the end of the production. It was the most ambitious story. So it's just like resources and everything were exhausted. We should have done that one first. We should have just done that one, period.
We shoulda, coulda, woulda.
But we should have done it first when we had like all of our resources. Just like put the most money, because it takes place in like, I think the 1800s. It's kind of like a gaslit England period setting. Really, if it was done a feature, we could have just not done the origin story, or maybe done an intro with the origin. Like, there's a million better ideas we could have done, and we went with a fucking anthology film that was just way too big and bloated. And despite its flaws, I'm happy with the movie, but I think it would have been better for us in terms of like making a name for ourselves if we just did a standalone story and put all our energy into it. Because eventually I did a standalone Eyeless Jack movie, and then a standalone Tiki Toby movie.
Was I there for the standalone Eyeless Jack movie? I'm pretty
no.
sure I'm pretty sure I was on the shoot of something with Eyeless Jack.
It was the teaser trailer.
Okay.
Okay, apparently Dan needs to go to a home now.
I do. I fucking do.
I got the brains when we split.
Apparently. God, fuck, where was I? Eventually I did do standalone movies, but this is when I didn't have the help of any of you guys, or like I said, Derek and Tristan were also part of this crew. Nobody else was really part of the crew. It was just
the crew kind of like fell apart.
Yeah, so this was just me.
It's all Brandon's fault.
We can blame it on Brandon. I guess that's fine.
Well, I would say
I moved away, and then.
Well, so our whole group kind of hitched on Brandon. Kind of. I would say Derek brought you to the group, I believe.
Yeah.
But Brandon brought me, Derek, and I brought Kevin, I would say.
Yeah, because I do remember I asked our friend Derek if he wanted to help with this movie, and then we started talking, and then that led to Brandon getting involved, and then you. Like, it was just a chain reaction of everybody getting involved.
Well, I would say, like, because it originally, so, like, after high school, after we all graduated from Butler Tech, that summer, me, Brandon, and our friend Cheyenne hung out all summer. And then at the end of summer, Derek started hanging out with us.
And then you had invited Derek for a screening of your Phantom Theater movie?
Oh, right, yeah.
And then all of us came to that. And then eventually from that, I think we all started to be like, well, it was like, oh, can we help you? Or can we do stuff with you from that kind of? I think that was the genesis of the group.
Yeah, well, there was a big gap between when we watched, just context, Phantom Theater is another movie I did, and we did like a backyard screening. There's a big gap between watching that movie in the backyard and then starting the Creepypasta movie. It was like,
I say there's like a year, maybe 2.
I think it was 2.
Yeah, at most 2 years, maybe a year and a half, but pretty big gap.
And then we filmed the different shorts and stuff over like a year and a half.
Yeah.
I believe before we even started on the Creepypasta movie, we might have started doing sketches, or was that during?
Yeah, around the same time we were doing sketches. And again, if I was smart, because it's kind of like looking back on like what we should have been doing based on what YouTube was at the time.
Yeah.
We should have just worked on the Creepypasta movie kind of here and there. And instead of doing skits in other short films and, all these other movie projects that kept sucking energy away from the Creepypasta movie, I should have just done like creepy top 5 videos or whatever. Just like what I would consider normal YouTube content. I should have just been doing that.
The worst part is we could kind of start doing stuff like that.
Well, you know what? I actually...
Nowadays? It would probably do okay if we try.
Well, I've noticed there's a bit of a resurgence in Creepypasta stuff right now.
Oh, yeah.
So now it's like when we're doing this podcast, so hopefully this gets some attention. But I have 3 fucking YouTube channels, so Freddy Leprechaun, those are my short film projects, you can check that out. But if you want more like traditional YouTube videos, I have a Candy Jack Cat is another channel where I am starting to do kind of like creepy... kind of like the stuff I was just talking about, like top 5 videos, or not literally top 5, but stuff where I just sit and talk like a normal fucking YouTuber.
It's like your personal YouTube channel.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start doing a lot more videos on that. I'll probably link both of these channels because I like to whore myself out any chance I get, obviously. I
was gonna say, and I will also link out this podcast or clip it so that way I can throw it up on my channel and try to see if I can drive some viewers.
There you go. Well. So we're all whores here, is what we're trying to say.
And Daniel will.
He's the biggest whore of us all.
I'm gonna take the podcast and I'll put it on the black web. It's deeper and darker and there's more credit fraud.
I think he's making this up.
I think he is too.
I'm not, I swear.
Well, he swear. That means he's got to be telling the truth.
Know what you should do? Print off QR codes
and
at work and have them linked to the channel. And but we can talk about this off air.
Yeah, I feel like this podcast is already getting weirdly off topic, and I feel like we're talking a lot less about creepypasta stories and more about our personal creepypasta projects, which, I mean, honestly, that's kind of like really nostalgic to me. We can always do another creepypasta episode if we want to get more into stories.
More into the weeds, yeah.
Like, I've been very nostalgic about this
creepypasta is kind of nostalgia for us at this point. I mean, I think we've all... I can't... Okay, I'm not going to speak for everyone. Because I know that for at least myself, I've gone from, original introduction to it, to not caring that much about it, to hanging out with you guys more, caring about it more, doing stuff with you guys and caring about it more, and then another drop off, and then coming back to it not too long ago again, and then another drop off, and now I've actually come back to it again. So it's just like, it feels like I have these nostalgic feelings for something that, like, you know, these stories that I consumed forever ago that I, like, can only remember tidbits of at this point because they were just like a random narrator's channel that I don't remember who exactly it was. It might be someone who's still around today. And then, like, I can't find them again and it sucks.
Yeah. I have a lot of fond memories of, like, when we just hang out and stay up really late. Like, we'd get, like, a whole pack of, like, Mountain Dew Baja Blast or some shit. And we might be, like, by a bonfire or at one of our houses. Just stay up until, like, 3 in the morning. Just, like, caffeinating, listening to these creepypasta narrations. And because, like, it's like that combination of being spooky, like, we're tired, but it's like spooky stuff, and we're also wired off the caffeine. It's like it does weird stuff to your brain, and I just got like a creepy chill, but in a fun way. Like, ooh, this is creepy, but I love it. Ooh, yeah.
I think that's part of why I enjoy creepypasta to the extent I do, just because it feels like a great time when we were all really close together and just close-knit as a group.
Yeah. And then again, we were working on the movie.
Yeah, and trying to create something.
Yeah.
And we were all in our early 20s.
Yeah. And I think creepypasta in general as a community is something that's very open, because it's not like a corporate thing so much. I mean, there's some stuff. They did the shitty Slenderman movie.
Yeah.
Like, they try, but for the most part, it's a fandom-run community. And that means there's a lot of, like, again, like, Spirit Halloween's making shitty costumes, but for the most part, good creepypasta costumes are, like, homemade cosplays. Yeah. There's a lot of, like, fan art of these characters that just come from stories. There's a lot of, like, fan-made stuff. You can't just, like, go to, like, Walmart and buy a NECA action figure of Jeff the Killer. Yet, at least. So I think that's neat. But, like, you can buy a custom-made. Like, I was at a horror convention in October. This one booth had a lot of cute pastel girly stuff, but then there's just, like, these 2 custom-made dolls of Eyeless Jack and Jeff the Killer. Very well made. They were very expensive. Otherwise, I would have bought them. They were really cool, actually.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a pastel Jeff the Killer.
No, they oddly stood out amongst the pastel stuff, but it was just really cool to see that. So that's something that's kind of nice, that it's a fandom made. And even creepypastas themselves, it's just any asshole can write a story and post it on DeviantArt or wherever. And you can make your shitty fan films like we did. And it's wonderful. It's great. I love that. So this is me justifying why we're talking about our fucking movie for so long. That's our delightful fan-made contribution. Do you have any favorite memories working on the movie? Well, now that I've got that fucking thing out of the way.
Okay, and I maybe Brandon's trying to say this right now, but
oh no, I guarantee ours are different.
Okay, there was this one time, I can't remember exactly what we were shooting, but we were shooting it at Derek's house. And you have this video somewhere.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You have this video somewhere. But basically, we're sitting down below a deck that jutted off the back of Derek's house, and we were recording him, like, begging for money, and, like, you guys were, like, fake walking by him. I think I was the one on the camera at the time, and his stepdad came outside and just started laying into Derek with all of us there about how this was some 16-year-old shit. Right. You're 21 or something like that.
Right, because Derek was supposed to be fixing his truck, and we came over. We were just going to get one shot, and then we were going to fuck off and do our own thing. Like, we were just there. He was letting us use his house. We just needed one shot with Derek, and then he was going to get back to doing what he was supposed to be doing. But the microscopic amount of time we were getting that one shot, that is when he gets just destroyed by his stepdad having a fucking small dick fit about something.
So, mine involves Derek, too.
We got to get Derek on the podcast at some point, because we clearly have a lot of Derek stories.
So, Tiernan needed Derek to act scared for a scene, and he just was not nailing it correctly. So, me and Tristan got an ice cube.
Oh, you know what? This was actually, we weren't even shooting the scene. We were just doing auditions.
Okay,
Which
that's
makes
what
it
was.
worse, because it's like we had less justified reason to do this.
So, we needed Derek to act scared, and we found out the best way to do this was to get an ice cube and to just drop it down the back of his pants.
It's a very delicate way to put it.
Well, that's the way it happened. Derek did try to crawl away, but that ice cube got where it needed to go.
I just saw Derek reaching his hand around the counter.
Just going, no!
Like, holding his hand out, yeah! Well, you guys put an ice cube in his butt crack. And this sounds bad.
It sounds bad, but...
Yeah, let's hear your butt added onto this.
Justify it. Come on.
But Derek gave us permission at first.
At first!
He gave consent.
He did give consent. And then... Yeah, he gave consent.
And then changed his mind?
No, he didn't change his mind.
Okay.
He did get scared of the ice cube, though, because he thought it was going to be very cold.
I mean,
And he was probably correct.
who hasn't been scared of an ice cube from time to time?
So for our viewers, I'm just going to say maybe don't put ice cubes in your friend's butt crack.
Unless they give permission.
Or do put it. This is a free world, and you can go to jail if you want to.
Well, the official stance, I think, of this podcast is always seek permission before putting anything in anyone's crack.
Yeah, that's probably
That's a good.
better.
That's a good point. Hey, let's change the fucking subject.
All right. So another fun thing was constantly singing the "Today Man" song, and Tiernan having no clue what that was from.
I don't know.
Derek and I would just break out into song.
I think maybe like a few years after we were doing this, I was hanging out with my cousin a lot more, and she watched Always Sunny a lot, so I was more familiar with all of the shenanigans there. Because I think I was confused at the time, but then I have it on video of you guys singing, "Day Man," ah! And it's really beautiful.
What about you? What's your favorite?
My favorite moment working on the production, I got to think about that, because some of my favorite memories are when we were at McDonald's, just hanging out, talking. I love the brainstorming process when I can actually do it with other people. Like, trying to, think of ideas and write a script by myself, it's always infinitely harder. Like, when I can just bounce a few ideas off of someone else, that just makes it easier. And then there's just, the idiocy that comes with hanging out with all of us. So, a lot of good memories about that. I'm trying to think if there's any specific... what did we do at McDonald's?
Oh, we just most of it was just fucking around.
Yeah.
We actually did. I would say we got most of our work done at McDonald's.
We did.
But it was a lot of.
We riffed a lot.
Yeah, I don't understand how we didn't get kicked out.
Yeah, I was waiting for the day to come where they're like, you guys need to go.
I think we were worse at Steak and Shake.
I don't remember Steak and Shake. I know we did occasionally.
We went to go eat there, but that wasn't like a meeting
Yeah,
place.
no, we would eat there. I remember one time, I think I was telling a horrible story, and in the middle of saying something awful, in the middle of a crowded Steak and Shake, I look over and there's a kid a table away.
And that's when you learned you need to just be a little mindful of your surroundings.
Yeah,
he didn't learn that for a few more years.
That's when I learned being 23 is stupid. It makes you a stupid fucking idiot.
One thing I do remember at McDonald's, because I don't know, we stayed when it was like really late, so we would be very tired by the end of this.
We would be there until like 11. Like, we would be there right until they closed the inside, which was like 10, 11 o'clock.
So it'd be really late. I'm drinking a bunch of coffee, as I do. So it's like that weird thing where I'm caffeinated and tired. I like to call it twired, like wired and tired. And I remember there was one moment, like, okay, Brandon's sitting at the table at like a booth typing stuff, and I'm just like leaning on the booth behind him. I just remember, I don't know why it freaked you out so much. I guess I just thought it would be funny, and like you just be like, okay, that's weird. But it's like I laid my head down on your shoulder, and I just like went like I exhaled really loud, and then you were just like, ah! Like it just freaked you out. I'm like, you okay there? Like I know it was like weird, but I just thought it'd be like weird in a funny way.
No, it's because I'm scared of intimacy.
Well, clearly, I guess. So that's a funny thing I remember. Okay, so we've been talking a long time. We talked about some of our favorite pastas, how we got into it. Talked about the movie we were working on. I think that's pretty good. I think we covered a lot of ground, and we can always return to any subject we can return to. So
Well, I mean, this is our first podcast where
you've separated off of Gertie
instead
into
of two.
independent entities. Yeah.
So, if somebody wanted to find you, Daniel, where would they go?
I'm on
Daniel's address is.
No, I'm that Daniel Smith on pretty much everything. I only really use Instagram and Blue Sky at the moment, and I'm getting into using Blue Sky, so that's where I am.
Brandon, would you like to promote yourself?
Yeah, you can find me at Yawning Giant on YouTube, Blue Sky, and Twitter, although I don't really use Twitter much now, so...
Good.
Yeah.
Good, that's wonderful.
I quit using Twitter this week.
And I am Candy Jack Cat on Instagram and Blue Sky. And then I've whored out my YouTube channels enough, but there's also Candy Jack Chat. Candy Jack... I'm tired, guys.
Well, you can't find them, so...
Just the links will be in the description. Let's blow this popsicle stand with hyper-realistic blood.